Hello there. I'm Liana, a full-time comic artist and writer. You might have seen my work on things like TKO Tales of Terror or Star Wars Adventures. This series is for anyone in comics, fans and peers alike. Here, I sit down and talk to all my friends in the comic industry. Welcome. Hello, everyone. I am joined by a wonderful friend of mine, Henry Barajas. He is the writer and co-creator of Helm Grey Castle, which is on Kickstarter right now. Hello, it's me, Liana from the future. My editor came up with a really good idea to tell you that most of this video was actually recorded in the past during Henry's Kickstarter. So just to let you know, the Kickstarter is actually over with, but you can actually pick up Helm Grey Castle at your local comic shop or things like Comixology, anywhere where you can pick up a comic book now. Henry, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I'm really, we're 5 days out from the campaign. I'm feeling great.
I backed it already. There are so many
appreciate
really cool tiers. The one that I was astonished about was how to kickstart your comic video series. And
How
so
not to.
how not to? Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, I don't like people telling me what to do, so I made a how not to. If you back this and yours fails, then you had saw how not to do it. I've noticed a lot of people are doing Kickstarters now, and I've been studying Kickstarters for the last 8 years like a serial killer. How do you make enough money off a $10 book? You don't. I mean, you got to have like 1,000 people to buy
Right.
your book. So I offer variants. So I offer my graphic novel, which is a larger dollar amount, and a lot of people either back the first 3 Kickstarters, got 3 issues, want the full trade, only got 1 issue, didn't get the full book. So that tier, I'm asking for a little bit more money there, and I'm making more money there. So I wanted to do a tier where, there's really nothing I need to send other than the comic book. So it keeps my shipping low, but it also gives people information about how to kickstart their own comics. This is for a number of different people. This is for someone who doesn't have a complete first issue yet and wants to do an anthology, got a lot of friends, kid doesn't really have a network to support their own, $8,000 to $10,000 campaign. This is for somebody who does have that type of network, like myself, who can raise up to $10,000. This is also for somebody who wants to do a graphic novel, who has enough to sell a bigger book. And this is also for veteran comic book artists and writers and creators who find themselves in a unique place in this market where, they did really well in the 90s, maybe in the 80s. They did really well in the 2000s, in the mid 2000s. Now we're into 2020.
Yeah.
So we have a 20-year gap of people that have large libraries, who have a lot of real estate. How do I repackage that, reintroduce it to a brand new market of people that's Kickstarter
Literally
exclusive?
a new generation.
Yeah.
It's completely wild to think that not only do we have generational differences in comics right now that are coming to like a clash, but also platforms, Kickstarter being one of them, honestly, because I feel like even though it is print, it's a completely different way to deliver it.
I think it's the most easiest way for a consumer to
Yeah.
get a comic book. Like yesterday, you watched the new Hulu series. Like all you did was stream it with some friends. You didn't have to go to Blockbuster. You didn't have to go to the movie theater. It is instantaneous, and that's the problem with comics has, where it's built on a model of you going to a specialty store, knowing some like obscure jargon like final order cutoff, and like having
Yes.
like a fundamental understanding of the business to be a fan. And I think that's asking a lot. So when you're someone who just wants to read comics and you just click on a few buttons, 3 to 4 months, maybe even a year later, you get a book.
And honestly, by the time the creators are already finished with the product, much like the book market and things like that, there's such a gap of time that I know as creators, and maybe you can agree with me or maybe you have insight on this, but like you almost kind of not lose steam, but you're already working on something else probably. And so it's almost kind of like getting whiplash, having to like take care of advertising or pushing this book through the direct market or whatever, when, you could do it in that 1 month for Kickstarter and that's it. Or you do it, the month after with Backer Kit or something similar.
And Kickstarter has a better sense of urgency, I think, 30 days opposed to 3 months, because we're like, looking at April solicits right now. So
Yeah.
what's coming out in April is what we're working on this week. So that's what I like about Kickstarter.
So
you get the money in 2 weeks instead of waiting for quarterly earnings. So I think it helps a lot. It's a lot of work. I'm going to try to go over everything. Go from what someone said, nuts to soup. Try to go from like I'm going to try to do what I can to give somebody the most ammunition they can arm themselves or embarking on something that really matters, and you know, it's really important, especially the fulfillment part. So
You and I and a couple friends had that really long conversation about types of scripts and like what artists and writers like in
oh
terms
yeah.
of delivery. And so I really enjoyed having that conversation with you of like how certain artists work. I know like Fabian was like, I like the Marvel way because he likes full control of everything. And I was like, I like very specific breakdowns at the top. And then also like just put the dialogue on the bottom. I'll figure it out, you know? And so I I was worried when we were all talking. I was like, "Oh my god, Henry's never going to want to write for me in the future."
I've never met someone that says I don't read the scripts. They have to call me and dictate them to me.
You make me sound like such a diva, but also I am. So I
No, I
that's
mean,
why I like co-collaborating because it's a lot easier to figure things out. And I feel like you're vibing off each other and you're coming up with stuff, or like I can just easily ask you, "Hey, is this what you mean?" You know, over the phone versus like messaging somebody after reading the script and being like, "Okay, I have to go back on wait, what, this page?" and then like say, "Hey, did you mean this and this?" when it's easy when you can just discuss the whole issue in like an hour and be like, "Yes."
I'm one of those guys who goes, here's my script. If you can make it better, please make it better. Do everything you can. I look at comics as panels. I'm looking at it in rhythm, and I want to hit a certain rhythm. And as long as we can tell a story together, that there are some points in this page that's going to make someone laugh or cry
Yeah.
or get angry, I want the emotions, the moods, and the cliffhanger.
I feel like writers have a formula of panel breakdowns where you can deliver it that way and kind of can give that to the artist. I remember after taking Ram's workshop, he is very particular about how he constructs panel breakdowns. I like relying on stuff like that, especially with a creator, like you said, you trust however they're going to execute it, right? And so I enjoy both sides of that where like you can give me a lot of information, but as long as you trust me to like figure it out or you're happy with it, that's great. And I think that's really important.
My scripts are all Jason Aaron posted a file, and then he's like, here's how I do it. So I just downloaded that, and I'm just you know, working off that template.
I feel like a lot of people end up eventually, like writers specifically, eventually come to like a structured style at the end of a couple books or something like that. Platforms and social media, I feel like, have completely changed the way how, obviously, how comics are delivered, but how we're going to have to like not adapt, but think about intentionally how we create a specific story for whatever platform intended. And that's a little stressful because there's so many different ones, like Webtoon, constant scroll, and then
Yeah.
even Comixology, you know, double tapping, zooming in, zooming out, you know, constantly. It's, you know, a regular trade paperback from 5 to 10 years ago isn't intended for Comixology, right? But they've utilized it. They made
Yeah.
sure that it's still
God bless 'em.
readable. So it's just interesting. Do you have any other projects that you can talk about outside of Helm Greycastle?
Yeah, I'm working on a couple things. I'm working on a pitch with my friend Chloe Jura. We're working on a Western comic. It's called
Ooh.
Outlaw Country. I'm really excited for it. I'm from Tucson, Arizona, where old Tucson Studios is, where like Tombstone is filmed. Like a lot of people had done a lot of movies out there. Western culture is so big still. There's the annual Fiesta de los Vaqueros, the longest running non-motorized parade, where just a bunch of people on horses. So I wanted to do something that was Western because I love Western spaghetti Westerns. I love the whole thing. So we're working on a book called Outlaw Country, where it's basically what if the Lone Ranger was a mom and she operates in this world where heroes are all dead and she's the last one, and her daughter is the most notorious outlaw and she has to bring her in. I can't wait for everyone to see what Chloe's doing. We want to do it on Webtoon, so we're doing a vertical nonstop scroll in the way
Oh,
she's
yes.
integrating the desert and smoke, and how we're placing is something I've ever done before.
That sounds like a really fun challenge to like break outside of regular comic format. And I'm
Yeah.
really excited about that.
So I'm also working on a comic for Global Comics. It's a 12 page story called Surviving Camino Del Diablo, the highway of the devil. It's about what if a little girl had to cross the desert alone, and she ends up becoming an immigration attorney, and she's trying to help a family, and the experiences kind of parallel each other in different times, and that's being drawn by Nikki Rodriguez and lettered by Gabby Downey, who's doing Helm Greycastle, and a local a Latina in LA who lettered Step in Sage's Harleen. She did the Beast Boy DC Ink book,
Oh,
and
wow.
she's one of my favorite artists, letterers out there. So,
Thank you for coming on. Is there anything you want to say to everybody before heading out?
no, I just want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you for supporting both of us. It's been an interesting year, and I am so grateful for everything that's happening. And please stay safe, and I can't wait to see everyone on the road.
That's going to be really fun. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. And with that, I end you all.